Welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast. So happy you are here. My goal with this channel is to bring inspirational speakers to the mic in the field of yoga, massage, bodywork, and beyond. Follow us at Native Yoga and check us out at nativeyogacenter.com. All right, let's begin. Hello, welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast, and today I bring to you a exciting guest. I had such a great time speaking with Ambra Vallo, and go visit Ambra on her website, Ambrasana, Ambrasana, like Ambra and the yoga pose and asana. Get it? It's cool. I like it. Ambrasana.com. And then also you can find her on Instagram at the same handle, and the link is in the description below. And one thing I really enjoyed about this conversation is just how excited Ambra is for yoga and how many different teachers and places she's practiced. I mean, she's talented, and definitely go look her up on the interweb. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. And thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. The channel is growing and the listenership has been expanding, and I'm so excited that you're enjoying it. If you have any feedback for me, send it my way, please. I really am grateful for any ideas that you have. And if there's a guest that you would like for me to bring on, send me a name and maybe an email of where I can reach them, and I'll reach out and bring your favorite person on. All right, have a great day. I hope you enjoy it. Let's begin. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to meet and speak with Ambra Vallo. Ambra, thank you so much for joining me today. How's your day going so far?
Very good. Thank you, Todd. Thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Well, thank you. You know, I have had the opportunity of reading about your bio and your background, and it's really amazing. You've spent years as a professional ballet dancer. You've taken multiple teacher trainings from some of the greatest yoga teachers that we can access these days, such as Dharma and Larry Schultz from Rocket Yoga and Anna Forrest from Forrest Yoga. And I noticed you've taken many different teacher trainings for long periods, like 500 hour, 300 hour. Which is amazing. I love meeting somebody else that is so passionate about yoga. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey as a professional dancer to the world of yoga, and how these two have helped you share your passion for movement?
Sure. So the first time I practiced actually yoga class, it was when I was 12 years old. One of my ballet teacher, she was a Anusara teacher. And I took my first class when I was really, really young. Then later on, I didn't practice anymore once I changed country, because at the age of 12, I go to France. I had a scholarship in one of the ballet school in Rosella Hightower, which they are in Cannes in France. So I lived in France for a couple of years. And then I lived for 6 years in Belgium. I had another scholarship, and then I had a contract with the Royal Ballet of Flanders, that is the royal company, which is in Antwerp in Belgium.
Wow.
And I stayed there. So at the age of 17, I was a professional ballet dancer with that ballet company. And then I had another contract that he was in the UK, in England, in London. And I've been here for 36 years now, like in the UK.
Amazing. Wow. I mean, from everything I hear from ballet dancers that are current and ex-ballet dancers, or they've retired, it just sounds so intense in terms of the discipline and what you have to put your body through. What was it like for you navigating all that?
It was a great amount of discipline for a very, very early age. And of course, I was living on my own. So I was like homesick quite a lot when I was little, but then it just made me grow faster than a normal kid, I suppose. I mean, at 17, I had a full-time job. I was like in a ballet company. And I think the hardest things, he was, well, what make the difference, I think, with yoga was the full identification with the body, which was like the instrument of our profession. And it was very, very hard on the body. So from really young age, we experienced quite a lot of pain in the body, and we learned to carry on and not to listen too much to the body, but just making sure that we can get to performance and to be at the top shape of top performance, even if you are not feeling well. And I think that was the hardest part, I think, of being a ballet dancer, this constant pressure on the performance and on the body, which later on in the years I rediscovered back again, like yoga. And different part of the yoga really helped me out to feel like comfortable back again, not only with the body, but of course with all the different part of the yoga, like with the breathing and the meditation, find like a calmer state and a better version of myself back again,
Yeah.
which helped me to perform better in the ballet as well, which was great. And then my passion started there. I found this something that I could actually teach to the performer, and that is why I worked for quite a long time with athletes, with the ballet dancer, with the gymnast, with the martial artist, and especially with footballers. It was one of the first people that I start teaching. It was athletes in the beginning.
That's cool. I saw that you currently teach class now at a football club. Is that true?
I used to be the resident, like a yoga teacher at the Aston Villa Football Club for many, many years. I did that, and now I live in the countryside. We are in the middle of nowhere here, in the Buckinghamshire, just in the middle of the fields. So I made a choice of having like a more calmer life here in the countryside, and I left Birmingham, and now we are much closer to London, but in the north of London, in the countryside. So I'm just do one-to-one sometime with the footballers, different like team, but mainly I was with the Aston Villa football team, and during the lockdown with the Manchester City women also, I was giving quite a lot of classes with them.
Yeah, amazing. Now, when you made mention about the rigor of being a professional dancer and that there was a lot of times where you were encouraged to not listen to your body or to just kind of push even though it hurt and just like we're going to perform. Have you come across that in the yoga world too?
So I suppose like ballet dancer is very, very similar to gymnast. And I'm 53 years old. So back then, when I was much younger, when I started, when I was 5 years old, I think the old system of the teaching ballet was it was old fashioned, so it was about like discipline, and it was more forceful. I think now there is much more understanding, and I think the coach, they are all have a background of psychology and of nutrition, which back in the time it wasn't like that, like back in the time, we were encouraged most of the time, to look in a certain way, no matter what the side effects would be. So you were just asked to look in a certain way, and then it was your own way to get there, which was very, very hard, I suppose, especially if you're speaking to a child, and I think you can do quite a lot of damage, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
I guess what I'm curious too, though, is that I've noticed that in the yoga world, that there are yoga teachers that are very forceful with the way that they teach yoga and
Mhm.
kind of expect that if you feel pain when you're going into a position, that, oh, it's just the body. It's your mind is more powerful than the body. So don't worry about the body. Don't worry about the pain. Just push through. Your body's opening. Have you found that? Like that sounds to me kind of like the older school ballet style where you were just like, no, you perform. But it doesn't sound, I don't know, I'm curious, have you found that in the yoga world much over all of your years in different places practicing, or do you find that it's just so different that it doesn't compare?
So fortunately, I think my teachers, they were all very, very kind, I suppose, with the body. I started actually with the Ashtanga Vinyasa, Patabi Joy Ashtanga Vinyasa, but my teacher was Michel Bernard and David Swenson, which they were the old kind of school. Michel Bernard, he actually studied with Younger and with Patabi Joy. So he had an approach to the practice, which was quite healing, and he allowed us to use the props and the belt, and even try to do like Shirshasana, headstand, and all that. So I come from that kind of school. And David Swenson, he was very kind as well, and he was like very careful, in the poses. So I suppose I've been quite lucky with that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
then,
cool.
of course, it was like Sri Dharma Mitra and Larry Schultz. He actually changed and modified a lot of the really severe and kind of traditional sequences to make it a bit more like easier for the Westerner. And Anna Forrest, she come from a younger kind of background, so it's a very, very healing practice. So I suppose I've been quite lucky with that. But
Nice.
I can see why you're asking, because I know there are some practice that they are some teachers that they can force and students into positions, which is, I suppose, is very easy to go into the trap of that, especially if you have a teacher that is telling you that the deeper you go into a pose, or like if you deeper you go in the pose and the more spiritual you are, or if you are going into series that they are more advanced, you must be a better person almost. Or maybe they don't say that, but baby, you think that maybe you can become a better person by achieving certain poses. Which I think is completely the opposite, actually.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I know.
it's actually completely the opposite, because once you do a pose, you think you're separating yourself, because you think like, oh, if I can do that, and maybe someone else cannot do it, I must be good. And then it's like you need to look at the mirror and go like, oh, here is the ego, and you need to pull yourself back, like into the right road, back again.
Yeah,
But it's normal. I suppose a lot of people, they start from a very physical practice, and then with the time they kind of discover like all the different aspects of yoga. We all know in the beginning a bit like the point of the iceberg, and then we discover, for the one that they want to go a bit deeper, you start like snorkeling or deep diving to try to find out more and more, what the real yoga is. But it's already good, I think, then people they start, some people they say like, what the Westerner do is not the real yoga. But I think in a way it's good that there is a fashion, even if people that think that it is a sport, which I don't think is a sport, because it's a philosophy, is way of living. But a lot of people, they start with that, and very often then they come in class, and then you start speaking or giving like some reading or even a mantra, or speaking about Yoga Sutra Patanjali, or you speak of Sri Dharma Mitra, or you're speaking of my teacher Anna Forrest say that, and then they're asking for more. So they're really interested. So even though they come for the physical part, slowly they become more and more interested. I think everything depends always on the teachers, because same attracts same. So
yeah.
the people that are interested, they won't just go and do yogasana. They will go to the teacher. They just teach that, and but I think there is more and more study now, even on the anatomy of the poses, and what poses they are good, and how to do them in the correct way. While before we didn't have all this that knowledge, so I think like yoga is changing a lot. At
Yeah.
least for the yogasana kind of part, there is a bit more emphasis on the breathing, because now there is all this fashion of breath work of all kind, that they kind of transform it and distort it, some of them. And, like there is all kind of breath work that they are using for different way. For some of them, they can be for sport, for deep diving, some to go back, into trauma, some to become having better health. But they're all like, like very ancient gifts that be given through generation and through teachers to students for many, many years, which they come from the same, place, which they are like, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Garanda Samhita. They are like the main like texts where you can find all this technique.
You mentioned the text, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Can you tell me what you think of some of the really like, all right, so let me like back up a little bit. So maybe a yoga practice that seems really easy, maybe we could just pick and say, easy to do an asana practice and bend over and maybe touch your knees, kind of like a chair pose. So we say, okay, that's not so scary. Then we open up the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and we read about drawing water up through a little
The Kriya.
yeah, a little tube, and and then pulling this out and pushing that out, and all these things that like from my perspective, when I first read it, I was kind of like, what is going on here? And this is such a really interesting book because it's like an anthropological study of a group of people that were doing stuff before there was electricity, before there was like entertainment outside of this spiritual, like this really deep, intense longing to go deeper. So I'm really curious, what are your thoughts when you read the Hatha Yoga Pradipika? How do you translate that into your current modern life?
No, Hatha Yoga Pradipika is the main text of the Hatha Yoga, which is we have the five most principal elements: the asana, pranayama, kriya, mudra, bandha. So it's quite important for the practitioner that wants actually go into all this cleansing technique, but also using energetical lock, mudra, the seal of energy, which before they were together, the mudra bandha, and then they separate them. So the people that they're doing a lot of pranayama, I think, is one of the main texts that they can see, like the technique. I think it's very useful. It's a very strange book at the beginning when you're reading about, suppose, under the guide of a guru or like a good teacher, they can explain to you. I never did all the technique. Also because I experiment all like this technique with Sri Dharma Mitra. And he taught about all of them, but then we do like the easier one, which will be like the Kapalabhati. We're doing like the shining skull, or we are doing the neti, which is like with water through the nostril, the quite easy one, or the Dauti, which is the simple one, not the really like complex one, the one with the hot water in the morning with the lemon, and like if you're not vegan, maybe with honey, or otherwise with agave, or like something just to make it like a bit sweeter, in the morning. That is the one that's we practice the most. And Trataka we did also with Sri Dharma Mitra with the candle as the part of the Kriya. The other Kriya I read, I actually teach them even in the teacher training, but I don't really like make them like do to the students. I know that there are some places and some teacher training even in India where they made them do each one of them. Now, also some of them, I think we are in a modern world, and you can go like in a clinic if you want to do like a gastric wash, or you want to do a colon irrigation. You can do these kind of things. But also, we must think that they are very, very old book. And I'm pretty sure, like maybe if they were rewriting some of this technique, probably they would transform now because there are many way, even like just brushing the teeth with the earth and the two and the finger, or bringing the finger into the ear and cleaning the ear. There are like some technique going, why would you do that? Like. But they are
Yeah,
important. I think they
yeah,
are part of the tradition,
yeah,
and I think
yeah.
it's very important that we need to read this book because they're really important. I mean, Sri Dharma always said that we just need very few books and read them many, many times. Yoga Sutra Patanjali, and then the Bhagavad Gita, and the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. I say like these three books. So like you don't need to have like a bookshelf full of books that you are not reading, but few of them, and then read them many, many times. So then every time is a bit like watching a movie again and again and again. You can see like different things. And then, of course, because we change through the years and we experiment new things, and then we see different things either in the same book. And they are incredible. Like, I mean, the sacred scriptures, they are like timeless.
It's
And of
amazing,
course,
isn't
and
it?
Hatha Yoga Pratipika as well. It's quite a complex. It's a big book and it's not the easiest one. But if you want like all the even breathing technique, all the main kriya and all that, everything is there. But yeah.
I agree. It is fascinating. What book are you currently reading about yoga, or what is a book that you've picked up recently that you've just been blown away by? Because I know it's such a huge topic and there's so many branches and avenues. Is there something that you've been enlightened by lately?
So at the moment, I'm being interested in it's always like, spirituality as like a very broad umbrella and range is whatever is like getting you close to the spirit. At the moment, what I'm reading and what I'm like really interested is what's happened after we die. And there is I always had from very young age a kind of feeling that um, there is no end when we when we go away from this life, from this physical body. Even Sri Dharma, I remember like when we were in the teacher training, was one of the girl lost the mother. It was no long before the training, and you say like, "Don't worry, we all will meet again. No one never die." And I remember those words they were already inside me when I was really little. And I remember when my grandma, um, she was very old. She was like 97 or something like that. And she was going like, "Oh, I'm scared because I'm gonna die." And I remember as a child, I used to say like, "Grandma, no one ever die. We don't die." And it's something that you always been with me. Like I know that is not the end of it. And it was a feeling that I had forever. And then, of course, with the yoga, I get closer and closer, speaking about the real essence and, like um, like the parallel life that there are like once we leave the body and we have like big projects. We came here to school to do something, and then we forget, of course, because like the Maya, and then we forget everything, and then we came in this life to do something, and then we will go back home, back again, and then we have a time that we're gonna um, pull like everything together and see what we actually learn from this lifetime. And then some of us decide to come back and some they've gotten finished things. So I'm studying that at the moment, and I'm um, following like quite few people that they are in that world, and I'm very interested. It's everything is the same because they are when they are speaking with different analogy, but we're speaking about the same things, the real essence. Yeah, which of course the soul, the spirit, they are a bit like different. But I can probably like one of the movie that they are like really nice that is Brazilian is like No Solar. I don't know if you thought you ever seen No Solar.
I don't think I have. How do I spell it?
No Solar is NOS. Nos, double S, LAR, LAR, Nos Solar.
No, I'll write it down and
And
check it out. I have not seen
is
that.
is one of the most famous Chico Xavier, which is one of the most famous medium that existed. This Brazilian, and he wrote like 400 book
Oh,
on
wow.
the canalization that he had from what's happened after we died, because he had, and he wrote all this book, and then he gave everything in charity. So he lived a very, very simple life, giving everything in charity through this canalization. And then they did like a movie. And there are people that have got this sensitivity that they can actually, um, they've got, they can go during the night, or maybe they can move in between the two worlds. And then I find that very interesting at the moment.
That is so
So,
cool, Ambra. I'm really glad you told me that. I love hearing about that because I'm fascinated by the same thing, and I can't wait to check out the author of the book that you're talking about. That's
yeah.
that because I've never heard of. So I really appreciate getting introduced to something new, and I just to share a real quick story. Along the lines of what you're saying, I came across a website where somebody said one way that you can practice developing intuition to be able to potentially gain insight into some of the questions like you're mentioning. What was my past life? Or what is my dharma or my duty while I'm here? If I'm here, what did I do to deserve this? And what do I need to do to try to work through some of that? And so somebody said, well, try out this website where it's called remote viewing, a remote view target. So you go on the website and you just type in anywhere on Google remote view target, and it'll say, okay, we've selected a picture. And so then you sit and you meditate and you just, what's the first thing that flashes into my mind? And you just write down and you just kind of investigate, like, is there a smell? Is there a color? Is there a shape? Is there something? And then you just try not to intellectually judge yourself while you're doing it. And then you hit the button and it shows you the picture and you go, oh my gosh, I got a few of them right. How is that possible? So then you reset it and you do it again. And it's such a really interesting exercise because I'm always fascinated by trying to get my intellect to not question everything so intensely and to just feel. So I would love to hear about your journey with trusting your intuition and learning how to balance your intellect with your intuitive.
So there is, when I was like younger, I suppose we do quite a lot of things that's thinking with the mind. And I think the smarter part to ourselves is when the mind is quiet. And so we are so much more intelligent when the mind is quiet. And that is a bit when we are going in meditation. So that is the process of the meditation, is we arrive to a place which is where the mind is put it on the side, and then it's almost like we do this journey and we are in the center of a circle and we are here, and then outside the circle we are so much more intelligent. It is the moment of meditation when we can transcend the speaking mind because it's constantly distracting us. And once we arrive there, we get so many information, and it's almost like we have a bag that is broken or has little hole, and then by the time we come back, we have got just one little piece of sand. So we are, it's almost, it was too smart out there to be able to remember when you go back. And then with this little bit of light that we bring back with us, we try to find back again the way to go back to that point. And every time we bring back these little fragments of what we collect down there, but we can never actually bring the whole thing. So we get there and we have this sensation of I understand now. And then when you come back, it's just a little fragment. And this little fragment is the one that is like giving you uh, the will and to go back and to go back and do like your part of the sadhana with the meditation so that you can get to that point. I don't know
Yes.
if I answer actually your
That was
question.
great. Yes,
I
that
guess
was
like
exactly. No, I love the way you explained it because it's a hard it's a concept that's not
yeah.
easy to put into words, but I love the way that you painted that picture. That was really cool. And I like hearing, I'm trying to ask everybody this question because I find that each person's interpretation of how you access that and how you put it into your practice.
Mhm.
But that's so cool. I like the way that you're saying, like, from the grain of sand, and you can't pull all of it back with you, but maybe you take a little tiny bit. Have you had any recent situations where through your process of sadhana and or meditation practice that you've gotten a little glimpse of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just experienced that. Like I had a feeling or I had a sense and it just popped up in front of me. Have you had do you have those moments or have you had anything like that happen lately?
Yeah, I mean, I have those moments and I get very, very excited about it. Then again,
Yeah.
I try not to get too attached to it because even that is an attachment to get to that point. But what is very, very nice, which is I have quite a lot of students that they actually do painting and they do quite a lot of pranayam with me. And I had like I did coach like few young people, and when they were injured, I gave them like routine of pranayam and meditation, very easy technique. And they come back with the painting, with the color of the chakra, with the kundalini, and even people that they were saying like that they have actual visions, and I think they sometime I'll go like, oh, that is amazing. They are such a simple technique and they can go so deep. I think because they are like very um, because they are young, they are very pure soul. And I think they can see quite fast. I think things they can immerse themselves like quite easily. And I get quite excited. And then there is a part of me, I'm going, I cannot get there. How come they see all these things? I never saw all these things. But then I get very excited. It is great. I'm a good teacher. I can tell them to go there, even though I don't know how to go there. But the little I actually, the uh, few time that I go a bit deeper, um, it was, like when um, I actually less expect it, let's say. Sometimes I think is like the moment that I'm alone at home and there is no noise and blah, 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 and actually I stay into a concentration kind of state, but not really in deep meditation. And then sometime it can be sometime even like that is not a meditation like sitting, but it will be like just relaxing and being in one spot doing nothing, and then suddenly I'm concentrating naturally, and then I get into that state. And that's been probably the moment that I had the deepest connection with that peace that we want to find with the. I think it's quite hard to describe it. And
Yeah.
I think we all
Yeah.
have a very different way to describe it. It's a bit
Yeah.
like someone that never loved to say like, oh, when you are loved, that is what you feel. And I think, it's not peace, is you feel at peace, but you feel like love, but love is is you cannot really explain it.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can explain.
I
It's
hear you.
something that you feel like you want to go back to. That is for sure, because it's so much better there. And then, you're very little here and you feel very big there, even though you're very small in where you are in this really big place. But is incredible. And I just wish people teach a bit more, like even simple technique, because I always find like pranayam for me is like the pranayam is the meditation for the people that they cannot meditate. Because sometimes even doing a very simple pranayam, even without counting, in out through left nose, exhaling right, inhaling right, exhaling left, and Adhishodhana pranayama. If you do for a very long time, it can become very meditative. And it has an effect on body and mind that is much higher and is so powerful, I think.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most technique that I was like teaching to the footballers as well. It was like a breathing technique and visualization, because I did sports psychology as well. So I was bringing few technique together, like, with the pranayam, the visualization, using mantra, but there were different mantra with them. They were more like positive affirmation. And yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit like being in the bubble of Michael Csikszentmihalyi. You get in the bubble, then, it's like the autotelic experience, the bit the same. So when you are an athlete, the moment where the time transforms, you feel stronger than what you actually normally are. And everything goes so seamless. Generally, in the autotelic experiences, because of intrinsic motivation that you are experiencing, that is something that you love doing so much, and then you get absorbed in what you're doing, and then the time transform, and then that is called the autotelic experience of the flow state of Michael Csikszentmihalyi. And I remember when I start studying like yoga and with the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, there were the different, like from the Pratyahara, which is the bridge in between Hatha and Raja, and going towards the Raja part, which was concentration, meditation into self-realization. It was like, oh my God, they are like the same steps that they are doing in the athlete when they are going into the autotelic experience, which is,
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
going in the last, it's so similar. You concentrate so much that you become, the point of attention is the same. You become that. So like
Amazing.
in the different step of the eighth limb of yoga, exactly in the same way.
I know. I think that's really cool that you're able to bring attention to an athlete that what they're already doing is a aspect of yoga. Because like I think a lot of times maybe an athlete looks at yoga and says, I mean, there's so many different things that people think, right? We think like, oh, only that's for ballet dancers. Only like female ballet dancers are going to be good at yoga, but me, this old guy over here, how could I ever do that? How could I ever? But the fact that you're trying to bridge that gap and you can see the similarity of the
Mhm.
athlete being able to put their mind so deeply in touch with what they're doing, that is a deep state of samadhi in a sense, or a deep state of concentration. Like you're saying, is the same as that jump from pranayama over to concentration, or like you said, pratyahara. Do you feel that when you have new students and that are like really new to yoga, and you're attempting to convey some of these ideas, what is like if you have a situation where you feel like you're teaching to maybe a more advanced level, and then you have that person that's brand new, how are you bridging your gaps to include everybody?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I really hope that you're enjoying this episode, and I just wanted to take a moment to announce a course that I'm really excited to release. It's a free course, and it's called 8 in 8, Learn 8 Limb Yoga in 8 days. My goal is to help coach you along in the Ashtanga yoga practice in a way where we take just the sun salutations, the fundamental asanas, and the final breathing poses, break it down with some philosophy videos as well, explaining the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga in a very easy to use, friendly course that is totally free. Click the link below, check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, let's get back to the episode.
So here in the UK, I mean, London is very, very physical. People, they love the yogasana. And there is not many studio that they are interested in doing like the part of the even like a bit of pratyahara, like withdrawing of the senses into a little breathing technique. Sometimes we struggle a bit. So it's quite important to bring it into the masses, this technique, sometimes changing the name. Even with the athlete, I never call them like, like the name of, for example, if I'm doing positive breathing, I will call like, Surya Pranayama. I will say that it is technique that is feeding the left hemisphere of the brain, which is logical. Therefore, you will feel more confident. So it will be like, for breathing for confidence, to increase the confidence before like the match is I think is using the right analogy, and I think is education. So educating, like the people that are coming to classes to have a all-rounded class instead of having a class that is only focusing like on the yogasana, which is a lot of fun, which I think a lot of people, they are sitting at the desk. I'm pretty sure they probably arrive after work and they just want to sweat. And instead of going to the gym, maybe they say like, oh, well, let's go and try like instead of doing a yoga, because it become like so popular, like in the West to do like the yoga practice. But I suppose if it's up to the teachers to give them like some of the technique in the beginning and the end of the class, and because otherwise they are like identifying even more, like with the body, and you do not want to do that, because people, one day they're going to become older and they cannot do anymore the handstand and put the leg behind the head and doing all these kind of things. So I think if it's good for the health that they are moving, but also very slowly giving. I give always intent in the classes. So in intention, it helps people to do the practice for a reason and search for a truth that is much deeper inside them. I'll even like guide them so that they can use the breath, so that they can heal part of the body, or they can try to find where something is hidden, like an emotion is got hidden in a part of the body, and then that is why we're having like a problem. And because most of the time, like yes, we have like the physical body that it get injured, or we have a pain somewhere, but a lot of time is not only the body, but it's like an emotion that you got trapped inside the body. So sometimes we try to cure the body, but actually we need to cure the mind and not the body. So it's what we are thinking and how we are feeding, with which thoughts are we feeding the body, because it's what we are thinking is going in every cell of the body, and it can make us healthy or sick. And sometimes what is more important with the students sometimes is actually working on the mind more than on the body, or making work on the body with a very serene mind, so that they are not doing the position in a competitive way or just to try to achieve a shape, because that is like pretty pointless. There are like people that they can do contortion and we're not able to do that. So we're doing, or they can stand on one hand and they do like performances in Cirque du Soleil, and they can do a handstand so much better than what we can do. So we are defeating the whole point of the yoga. It needs to be taught in the correct way, that there is many parts of the yoga, and they are all important. But if we're focusing only on one part, which unfortunately is the one that is the most common, but in a way it gives us access to people starting to come to class, and is a first introduction. And I think, when people, they walk for the first time in the studio, they are coming, at least here in England, we have many ethnicity, we have many religion, we have many belief. So even like speaking about, when we are speaking about doing the Om at the say in the beginning of the class, I sometimes need to explain, it's like Amin, Amen. And, when we chant the mantra, which I love chanting the mantra, we are like not chanting to something that is external, but is a quality that we already have within us. And we are trying, is a bit like a drum inside the heart, and we are trying to start, like back again, feeling this vibration that they are through the words, but then those words and this mantra, which mean beyond the mind, the manas and tra, which is beyond the mind, they are awakening something that is already within us. And so I try to explain, you're not chanting to another God if you believe in something. And I try anyway to teach in a very like neutral kind of way,
Yeah.
not as a religion, even though come from the Hinduism, the Buddhism, the Jainism, but like a lifestyle. So it's a way of living. And I think when people, they can find their own way, because I think there is no one way, there is many way, there is many things out there, and each one of them, they need to find what work for them. And it's not the one is wrong and one is right. What will work for you? And then maybe in another time of your life, something else it will work for you. And maybe you go back to what you started. And maybe even in different time, I was saying, or the week or time or the month or time, you will feel like you need different things. Sometimes I like to, stamp the feet on the ground and do like, like really like a ritual with, with the feathers and with the drums and with, sage. I mean, here in the shala that you can see here, I've got like Shiva, and the Shiva, there is all the around the neck has many, many like japa, but to do the japa mala, the many, many mala. And then it has two feathers that they are like the shaman kind of art together with the Shiva, which is it's a bit like, come bringing together like my teachers, that they come. Spirituality has many, many aspects, and there is no one that is more spiritual than another. It's different way of expressing whatever is getting you closer to the spirit, to the real essence, to what we really are. That is spiritual. There
Great.
is not one way to be spiritual. Many, many ways that we can be spiritual.
I agree, Ambra. I think that's extremely important to talk about. And I know because or from looking at hearing from you about your experience of taking serious study with multiple different teachers, with Dharma Mitra, with Anna Forrest, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I also take the same approach that you take. I initially, upon embarking on yoga, was very forcefully told that you have one guru, only one. You don't mix, you don't match, you don't blend. And so I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense. I get it. I have one. And then that particular guru did some stuff that got him into some trouble. And so then he had to flee the country and run from the karma that he created through his actions. So then I thought, well, wait a minute. Now I have to worship this one guru or be true to this one guru, but oh man, I'm just not feeling the vibe off that right now. I need to find another guru. So then I go looking and I find another guru, and then I hear, you want to study with me? You have to sign a piece of paper that you won't go study with anybody else, because you had to have one guru and you come to me. And I went, oh boy, here we go again. But of course, when I go to the new guru, I don't say anything about the other guru. I don't bring it up. I don't come in and say, oh, well, I studied with this guru and I studied with that guru and I'm here with you now. But I want to say that like what they do is cool, but I like what you do too. And I think, no, I just keep my mouth closed, because why? Why would I stir that pot, right? So I feel like more out of respect, like I respect you. So I believe personally it's possible to learn from everybody, to still respect everybody at the same time. Can you talk? I feel like you already expounded upon this and what you were just saying, but I want to put a little more attention here. Can you talk a little bit about the artfulness of learning from many, but being respectful of each and every one that you are with in the moment?
So I think the daughter of many father and mothers. And I love them, each one of them, because they were all so important. They gave me many, many tools, and they gave me and they still give me so much inspiration. They are the inspiration. And I'll bring them always in my heart, and I share many, many of their teaching to my students. And I keep saying to the students, Sri Dharma Mitra say that, Anna Forrest say that, and Larry Schultz used to say that. Actually, I didn't study with Larry. Larry died just a few months before I took the first training with the It's Yoga, and he just died. But I took training with mm, 10 different people that they were like really close to Larry. So I kind of put together a bit like, what Larry Schultz. I used to go in the training, and I remember I used always to go to the student disciple that they were the closest to him, and they were like, just speak to me about Larry. And I want to know Larry as a person, how he was. So I kind of collected all these pieces. A bit is like going to the beach and bringing all this little shell and put the pieces to a bit of puzzle I kind of made with the Larry Schultz. And then it was like I always say, like, I've got Mama Anna, Papa Dharma, and Uncle Larry. That is like,
Yeah, I
the
love it.
three,
Yes, yes.
the three people. And they are like, even in the personality, they were like, they are this incredible character and so different in between them, but they make like sometimes the more serious part, the more disciplined part, the more hearty, the more lighter, the more like funny is is almost like they gave me all the color, and of course each one of them let me paint the way how I want to paint. Of course, when you go to a teacher, even the people that I have many people that they were in the same class than me when we were in the training with the Sri Dharma or with the Anna Forest. We were like hundreds people inside this room, and we all came from the same training, but we all teach so different. Why? We cannot say that, oh, that is the real Dharma, the real Anna. It's like each one of us, with our own lens, we saw a part of them. And I think we are reflecting probably the side that it was uh, we were most attracted to them.
Ooh,
And then
yeah.
we are sharing that part of them.
Yeah.
But of course it's done. Sometime now in these days, there are people that they did study with Dharma many years ago. And some people, they go like, oh, that is not Dharma Yoga. And I go like, yeah, it's Dharma 20 years ago. 30 years, of course, is still, but he was like in a different time and he was teaching different.
Yeah.
They evolved, they are practitioners. All of these, Larry Schultz and Anna Forrest and Sri Dharma Mitra, they all like practitioners. So, of course, you keep changing. And lately, I've been assisting Anna Forrest quite a lot in Bali for 1 month. I was with her at the 200 hour, and then I did Vienna in advanced training, and I was like in Naples, and then I did Ibiza with her many, and she's so different than 10 years ago. Everything is so different, but it's normal because like they keep evolving, they keep changing. And Sri Dharma is exactly the same. It's very different when you come to London. Like I love one thing that I love being is a student. I love being a student. I think it's really important to completely get like taking off the dress of the teacher and going like, teach me everything back again. I know nothing, tell me back again. And I think it's quite important, and I quite like it. And I remember like some people go like, but you have your own training, you do your own things, why you shouldn't do the assistant? I was like, I need to be an assistant because I need to control the ankara as well, the ego, because it's good that sometimes. And two, you need to be fed, and someone need to tell you sometimes because you cannot see. And I think it's good. And these new things, not always you completely agree with them, but of course there is such a deep respect, and Anna, she's like the curandera, she's the healer. She is the one that she's healing people that they are in such of, she come out of trauma and she's still helping people to walk in beauty. I respect Anna for all the work she's doing, and Jose Calarco as well. That is like, the husband, and he actually, Jose did the training with me when we were in Chicago, and he is the part of, like the ceremonial part. He come actually from Jose. I think they are helping people to live a better life, even though they come from huge trauma. And the Sri Dharma is giving me the way of living well for many, many life, because he's teaching us in such an easy way, such a complex concept. And I
That's
remember
so
studying with
cool.
other people and going like, I don't really understand, but I will just learn it from the book and I just repeat it. But then with Dharma, it was like he explained it with so many metaphors and it was so easy to understand. It was like he was speaking to children, the way how he spoke to us.
Mhm.
And sometimes he
Yeah.
didn't even need to speak. We just understood because we were next to him. And then somehow, I don't know how, but you just knew it. It's like very like, for me, there are these amazing character, these two that they are almost the yin and the yang, but together they are like so complete.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a bit of got these two sides,
Yeah.
and then of
Yeah.
course, Larry Schultz for me is like, I used to come from Ashtanga, and then um, coming from all this modification and make it like a practice which it was easier for the Westerner, and invented the power yoga the way. I mean, remember his manual 200 hour of Larry Schultz, they were beautiful. He was a poet, on the flower power kind of era of San Francisco, that he was speaking to the people that they were there. It was incredible. He was reaching those people. And it's a bit like Anna, he reached the right people with the right analogy that they need, you know. When I come back from teacher training with Dharma, I was teaching Dharma all the time, even with Karma Yoga. I was doing quite a lot of Karma Yoga. And I realized in a certain point, I couldn't use the same word and the same analogy for everyone. With certain people, I need to transform and make it okay. Is Arjuna, and is like with Krishna, and is us, the two family, and is the good and the bad we have between. But how this Arjuna that is like in London, that is the real Arjuna, that is at home, that is with the family, that is with the friends, that is like at the red light and someone is crossing and someone is doing something that he shouldn't do. So how can we bring it in a very easy way, in a way that everybody can understand?
Yeah.
And sometimes if you have like 3, 4 way to explain it, is much easier. So maybe you cannot reach everyone with only one lineage, but with different lineage, you have got many tools. And in the end, the yoga is like, and it's not to yoke because we are never separated. We forgot that we were separated. But is to bring it together. The moment that we said there is only that, or this one is the real like lineage and the other one is not, I think we are separating. We're not doing yoga anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I really hold the flag that they're all incredible. I love everything. Sometimes people laugh because they say like, every time you speak about something, you go like, "Oh, I love that. I love that." It's like, of course.
You're
And
like,
if I
yeah.
go in the studio, I try to
Yeah.
practice with the owner, even if he's a lineage that I never did.
Yeah.
I love Kundalini.
Yeah.
I did, if I land, I go and do like Bikram class. If I'm in Austin, and I go and do like big, anything, because I think is important um, that we are open. Of course, there are some practice that they feel like they get us more benefit, or they make us feel better than other. It's completely normal that. But I think it's very important to be open to try everything. And I always encourage the students. It's like they are not my students. There are no one students. It's like, please go and try. You need to try many, many things.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need to do that,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there is no one way to do things.
Yeah.
It's like a bit like Google Map. You put Google Map A to Z, and then there is the way that you can go through the little road and you see the countryside, the way that you are exploring the coastline, and the other one that is straight motorway, you're getting there. So there are many, many ways. There is no way that is better. What you like doing and what is your road? Because even like the guru Dharma always say that the real guru is within us.
That's so
So we know what we need. He always say that.
I
And
agree.
yet Dharma sometimes he say like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You go like, I was like, why you're kissing my feet? You go like that. My feet make you feel better, then it's okay. But the guru, the real guru, Dharma said, is within. Everything is within you. You just need to still the mind in order to hear the answer. But the answer, they're not outside us, they are inside us. It
That's
doesn't matter if they're different than someone else's answer, but if they are your answer, that is guru is bringing the light, is not dragging you like somewhere. It's just telling you that is the way, and that way you may find different way, but the path is your. There is the end of the path is the same, it's self-realization, which is realizing our real nature. And if he's with a yoga practice, if he's through, sometimes people can be surfing and you get to such a high state that you become one with the ocean. You're doing the same, you're going back to the greatest source. Yeah, is exactly the same. Or is being like in the not dream time, but is like, getting closer to what is the parallel state that is in between this life and other stages of life. There are parallel, yeah, where we have like, um, different like layer of existence. They are beyond what can be seen by the human eye, because we are vibration. That is yoga as well. It's the
yes.
realization that we are a soul that is incarnated into a body, and we go back to the mothership. Like there is a big ship, mothership, and then we come and do what we need to do. Then we finish, we go back home. We put back again like the electric, like, so that we charge back again. We realize what we need to do back again. We detach back again. We go back and do the mission. And then we go back, we have a little rest, and then we go back again. And we are speaking about the same things,
Yeah.
even though they seem like different discipline or different things, but we're doing the same thing.
I think so, Ambra. And I love that you brought attention. I haven't thought of it like this, but earlier in the conversation, you had mentioned if you have like, instead of having a whole bookshelf full of books that you don't read, but if you take like a couple of books and you reread them and you reread them, and then every time you read, you get more out of it. Or like you said, with a movie, you watch the movie over and over, you see more. And I love how you brought up when you assist and somebody brought up, why would you need to do that again, Ambra? You already are good at this. Why would you need to be humble like a student like this again? And I think maybe you said, or maybe I read into this, that if we treat our teacher almost like we're reading that same book again, this is a brand new chance for me to now read this same book again. What am I going to pick up? I've really never really thought of a book and a teacher as the same thing. I mean, maybe I have, but that just really dawned on me when you said that the teaching of the teacher, what we're going to pick up on in the moment and the time that we're with them, when we go back 5 years later and we're rereading the same book, like we're meeting the same person again. But no, it's like I'm reading it all over again. There's so much more meaning that I just couldn't have picked up on 5 years ago, right? And that is so cool. That is so amazing. And I do love your analogy of the spaceship where we come down and we do what we do and we go up and we remember what we do and we come back down again and we go up. Because I mean, I think life is really exciting and fun when you start to see a bigger picture. When that bigger picture, so instead of like, no, there's just one teacher, you have to stay with one. That's the way you show you're good. And you're seeing the bigger picture. Everybody's good. Everybody's part of the one. So let's learn it all. So I really appreciate your enthusiasm. I love it. Thank you so much. I have so much fun meeting you, other teachers and practitioners, and I love how passionate and excited you are. It's infectious. So I think keep doing that. Keep doing it, because I really enjoy hearing your enthusiasm. It's really important, and I'm excited. Do you, in the attempt to be respectful of your time and to try to steer us toward a closing of our conversation together, is there any, oh, I hear birds, but I think that's on my end, sorry. Is there any thing you want to leave us with, Ambra?
Um, Maybe like some advice with people,
Oh, yeah.
like when they start in their journey. I think what is important, that they shouldn't rush, and they shouldn't treat yoga, especially when they're new, because we say that generally they get there, they arrive into a yoga studio and they think a bit like it's another sport. So they shouldn't treat yoga as another achievement to chase. So in the beginning, it's really easy, I think, to get caught up in the physical practice, which is completely normal, or comparing ourselves to other people, or thinking that we need to master certain poses. But yoga is not about performance, it's about presence, it's about being there, it's about the breath, it's about feeling every instant that we're there. Also, I think people that need to be careful of attaching their self to external validation, because sometimes they want the teacher to tell them if he's the guru or if he's someone else, whatever it is. It can be from a teacher, or maybe like even the person that is next to them. Oh, you improve a lot, or how flexible you are in that posture, or how many classes you are doing in a week. Then you must be better than someone else, or the deeper work. They need to understand that is not about the position, but is the deeper work is actually internal, and I think is what a lot of people they are missing in these days. So one of the pitfall I experienced was ignoring also the rest and taking time for yourself, I think. And
That's great advice.
especially in the beginning, I was seeking to do more. It was always the more I do, the better I become. And it was even with the meditation, the more I do pranayama meditation, the better I will become, and the more I will get to that stage. And then at a certain point, I was like, it's not that. Now I know that some of my most profound shifts has come from the stillness, or from chanting mantra, or from simply like sitting with my breath. I mean, simply just with the breath. So I would encourage anyone that is beginning to explore this inner practice as early as they can. Of course, alongside the physical practice, because I know how enthusiastic they can become and how attractive they can get to the physical practice. And they need to trust that the path will unfold for them exactly as it should. There is not, everybody has a different path. So just follow the one that is the heart. He's telling you. Because in the end of the journey, no matter what you're doing, the connection with your real nature, which is the spirit, that is your path, is remembering back again in this lifetime that we are a spirit incarnated and not a body with with a mind and a soul inside, but we're actually an incarnated soul. So we are a spirit that is inside the body with a mind, and we try to bring the body and mind into stillness so that they can be the better version of ourselves, and then we can live a better life for ourselves and for others as well.
Yes, Ambra. Yeah, I agree. I second that motion. That is, yeah, well said. And I appreciate you pointing out pitfall and what to avoid, because you're absolutely right. And I agree. My experience has been very similar. So it's so good to hear somebody else say, yes, this is what I did and I've learned from it. And I think if you're new, then you could just, if you can just kind of slow down, like you're saying. Oh my gosh, Ambra. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your generosity with your time. It's very kind, and I appreciate your willingness to jump on, and having not knowing me, but trusting that you do enough to be honest and tell your story to us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Native Yoga Toddcast is produced by myself. The theme music is dreamed up by Bryce Allen. If you like this show, let me know. If there's room for improvement, I want to hear that too. We are curious to know what you think and what you want more of, what I can improve. And if you have ideas for future guests or topics, please send us your thoughts to info@Native Yoga Center. You can find us at nativeyogacenter.com. And hey, if you did like this episode, share it with your friends, rate it and review, and join us next time.